Rolling? Yeah.
Rolling.
Yeah.
My name is Joseph Chan. That's me these days. But 5 years ago, I was a New York attorney. At the end of 2015, I went on a backpacking trip to Cuba, where I ran into a Korean Cuban by chance.
We just found out that our host is actually Korean Cuban, third generation.
This one serendipitous encounter changed my life completely. I ended up obsessing over the history and the current state of Koreans in Cuba. One man in particular.
Is this your name, Imunjo?
My husband,
Your husband's name, I see.
Imunjo.
Imunjo.
In Spanish, Herónimo Lim.
Herónimo Lim, who passed away 10 years before I set my foot in Cuba, moved me deeply. And I spent the next 4 years tracing his footsteps. Well, the rest is history. Now, when I look back in time, I wonder what it was that led me to pursue this daring, if reckless, journey. I think it was a sense of wanting to find myself, my identity, and a place of belonging. Just as how Herónimo tried to find his place as a Korean Cuban in the Cuban society. My next project hence became something more personal. Yes, I wanted to tell a story of Koreans here in the United States. This November in the US, there's a presidential election. But on that same election, we vote US Congress into office. This year, we have 5 Korean Americans running for US Congress, most in history. In the summer of 2020, one day I opened a newspaper that highlighted 5 Korean Americans who were running for US Congress. I thought, wow, this is it. Each one of them represented different facets of Korean immigrant narratives in America. And their individual journeys symbolized different elements of the Korean American identity at large. If Herónimo represented Korean political leadership in Cuba, I wonder, could these 5 Korean Americans represent a wide spectrum of Korean political leadership in the US? What is a Korean American identity, by the way? Is there a collective Korean American identity? If so, what are some events that shaped our common narrative? Was it the '92 LA riots?
There are a lot of Korean businesses in that area. They know it's illegal, they don't care. But I'll tell you what happened moments later. The Korean merchants, 3 of them were holding guns and they just started firing.
Or do we trace our genesis all the way back to when our ancestors first came to Hawaii back in 1903? How about the recent anti-Asian attacks and systemic racism against many ethnic minorities in the US?
Each other right now. We need to know how to stop the hate.
What does it mean to belong in America? Is the US one grand human experiment bound by a common set of ideals and values? Then what story can we share about ourselves? To tell our own story, we need to first know who we are. What it means to be Korean, what it means to be Korean American, Asian American, American. I wanted to find answers to these questions through my next film, Chosen.
I'm forever grateful for this country that gave me the opportunity to realize the American dream.
In a time when the legitimacy of our membership is being questioned in our own community and nation, how do we Korean and Asian Americans become the speaking subject of our own narrative instead of being subjugated as the spoken objects in a narrative told by others?
If I'm chosen by the people,
if and when I'm chosen.
If chosen by the people,
I will make history as the first.
When I get chosen by the people.
If I am chosen by the people, I'll be the first.
What is your story?